Katie Rickwartz was a native of Canyon and a product of Canyon High School. Some of the things I'm going to say are a repeat of what we just saw in the video, but some of these accomplishments are just absolutely off the record. Three-time Lone Star Conference Setter of the Year, as well as a two-time All-America for the Lady Buffs from 2006 through 2009. She helped WT compile a record of 143 wins, just 21 defeats. Divide that out over 4 years. And in Lone Star Conference play, 48-0. That is hard to imagine. Absolutely incredible. She helped the Lady Buffs to a national runner-up finish as a senior in 2009. She received her bachelor's degree in marketing from WT, married her husband Josh, who played football for the Buffaloes. She now teaches marketing and advertising at Vandergrift High School in Leander, Texas, which is a suburb of Austin. I present to you Katie Rickwartz Young.
All right, well, I want to start off by thanking all of y'all for being here tonight. I know it's kind of been a long night. I'm number 4 in line, and so I just know all of the inductees are really thankful for the support we're receiving from you guys. I had about a month to sit on the fact that I was going to be inducted, and through that time I've worked through some emotions. I'm really thankful and honored, but I also feel really awkward about it because I know my experience and I know who I went through it with, and I know it wasn't me alone. And so whenever you're talking about picking out one person from such an amazing program, it couldn't have been done on your own. And so while I am honored, I am the last one to want to accept credit on my own because it took my team and I was a part of something truly amazing. On the other hand, it makes me feel very nostalgic because, as you heard, I am from Canyon. There's not a lot of Canyon people that get to wear the maroon and white and have the history with WT that I've had. I know we have Dalton back there, and so I didn't get to say hi to you earlier, but you know thought. But I have such a cool history with WT that makes it this much cooler for me. My parents in the 1970s, they met and fell in love at WT, and ironically the same thing happened. I met my husband here, and we are now married, obviously, and have 2 wonderful, energetic little boys. And also, a really cool fact for me is that I have been coached at some point by every single coach in the WT volleyball history since 1991, from Jim Giacomazzi to Debbie Hendricks to Tony Greystone to now Kendra Morgan. I've got to experience them all at some point because of where I come from, and so WT has meant a lot to me. If you go to the 90s, I was born in '88, and so going to the 90s, some of my earliest memories come from parking at the old donut stop across the street from the box and walking over to watch the WT women play basketball. I was a Canyon kid, so of course, you know, Joe Lindbergh basketball. So we'd go and watch them play basketball, and I remember even back then loving the smell of the box. There was just something about it that I just, it sticks in my memory. When I was in 5th grade, we somehow got hooked into volleyball. And I remember going and watching Sarah Butler nail the ball in front of the 10-foot line. And I saw some of the other greats play. I got to see Jessiane Fernandez, Shannon Stroud. I watched Shannon the Cannon play. And I would see Casey Hyatt and Brittany Bridge. And I was just so amazed at these girls. And the one that had the biggest impact on me was the setter from Amarillo that played for WT in the early 2000s. Some of y'all might recognize the name Kendra Morgan. And I would go and watch her play, and I remember being like, I want to be like her. That is the standard that I want to hold myself up to. And little did I know the impact that Kendra would have on me later on. I got to go, and I played for Tony Greystone, but I also played for Kendra Morgan and Sarah Butler. And that, if any of y'all know anything about WT volleyball history, that is pretty cool. And so my history with everything WT has had a lot to shape with who I am and the path that I've been on. My senior year in high school, I got offered by Tony Greystone to come play at WT, and that offer unlocked the door to so many things that was bigger than me, and it has had a rippling effect on my life. And WT volleyball taught me a lot during my time here, and one of those things was to never be satisfied with something good that you did, because there's always something better. As a freshman, I was in a class of 8 that got whittled down to 4, and together we did something awesome. We never lost a game in conference. We went to the Elite 8, or actually the Final Four, 3 out of my 4 years. Senior year we won. We did not win. We got to go to the national championship game. I wish we had won. But we got to play in it, which that is pretty awesome. And we only lost 21 games in our 4 years together. And so that was pretty amazing. But I think it's because we were held to this standard. My freshman year, I played behind a senior setter, and I didn't get to see a lot of court time because of that. And I remember we played Angelo State, and I finally got some time on the court. And so we did really well. We swept the team. We went to the locker room after, and we were celebrating. And my position coach comes and pulls me out of the locker room. And I'm a freshman. I'm like, woo, I did great. And she pulls me out, and she starts talking about all the things I did wrong. And I was like, I'm pretty good. And so she's going through with me everything that I could have done better. And it was that moment that kind of changed my lens to see, even though, yeah, we won, we swept, we did great, there's always something you can improve on. Don't be content with good. Aim for great, aim for excellent. And as a freshman, that really molded how I approached the game from there on out. Another thing that WT taught me was how to be selfless. Whenever you come into WT Volleyball, for those of y'all that know the history, you know you don't get recruited to go into WT Volleyball to make the program great. It's already there. Your job is to not screw it up and to put your own stamp on what's already been done for you. And so our coaches always preach, it's not about me. It's not about the me at all. It's about the we. What can we do together? And so our sophomore spring, we had a rule in place and it got broken. And as a result, it was not me. I don't break rules. I'm not good at being bad. I want to please everyone. Everyone's happy. But it wasn't me. But as a result, we had to go run the hill at Kimbrough. Y'all know that hill. We don't even want to walk up the hill. We had to run the hill 21 times after a hailstorm for a rule I did not break. And so about halfway through running, one of the players, she couldn't do it anymore. And so she was done. The rest of us finished it out. About a week later, the player came back and she wanted to finish running it. And so we went out to support her. And she was still struggling, so we decided we're gonna go run with her. And I think at one point I even physically got behind her and pushed her up that hill, that way she could finish. And me now, thinking about it, I'm like, why on earth would I go run that hill 21 times on my own for something I didn't do wrong, plus another 21 times after that? That's crazy. But it's because the coaches have squeezed all the selfishness out of us. And that might sound crazy, but when you look at the results of what we did, it worked. When you look at how successful we were able to be, it's not because we ever put one of our value over the other. And as an adult now, as a parent, as a teacher, I'm a teacher. I'm really proud of that trait I have because I can pass it on to my children and on to my students. And I think that that's something invaluable that WT gave me. The last couple lessons that I'll say I learned from WT, first one came from Tony Greystone, and that was if you are having to take a picture with a lot of tall girls and you're not super excited about being the shortest one in it, you can stand on your toes. And you will look a lot taller. And if you don't believe me, go check out the 2008 WT volleyball team picture and check out Tony's toes. And you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Another thing I learned during my time is if you are pretty close to Sarah Butler while she's hitting a ball and you get hit in the face, you just might get a concussion. I only made that mistake once. The last thing I learned is that if your daughter is playing in the regional championship tournament and you show up with the number 10 shaved in the back of your head, a WT on the left, and a KT on the right, a lot of people are going to stop and ask to have their picture taken with you, and you might even make the local town's newspaper. The biggest thank yous I can extend go out to my family, my husband, and my God. My mom missed maybe 2 games throughout my entire career, which is a big reason why I did choose to stay at WT, and that's pretty amazing. From Seattle to Florida, my mom was there. My dad was around almost as much, and at one point my mom told my dad that he needed to get a hobby, and he claimed volleyball was his hobby. We lost my dad in 2014, but I know if he were here today, he'd still proudly be scooping ice cream at the WT basketball games and making the scoops way too big. Sorry, Gary. Lastly, I know God brought me to this place for a reason and gave me the ability to put my stamp on the program that I do love so much. To everyone that's been there along the way, thank you.